Chris here, Chris's Creations. We're back with a new channel, new setup, new studio, and a new product we're bringing in today for an unboxing, a specialty one for multicolor printing, a universal system, just launched, just dropped here on Chris's Creations. Let's check it out. Before we get into it, guys, I've got some breaking news. Mr. Scully here, our mascot of Chris's Creations, just revealed to me we've got some massive information just revealed to me in the last 24 hours that involves Creality and CoPrint, information that you're not going to want to miss out on multicolor printing with a collaboration that you need to know about. We're going to do an unboxing. We're going to go through it. We've got the box here just to prove it was sent out to me from CoPrint series to Chris, with a special thank you for the support. Basically, we've taken it out of the box. I have not unpacked anything. You'll see that when I unbox it. Everything should be still in plastic and sealed. So I'm excited about that. We've got a few extras here, some hot end stuff, which is really cool to go through because apparently the actual Chroma head itself, which is the whole mechanism for the print head, has a magnetic removable case, which is awesome. We've also got a new addition to the channel. He's going to be a constant member of the team, and that's Scully over here. Mr. Scully, we call him, and he's going to be a bit of a character. Pretty much the mascot of Chris's Creations channel. And I'm going to be asking his opinion from time to time, what he thinks about the products that we present to you today and in the future as well. So say hello to Mr. Scully in the comments, and anything you got to add, feel free to comment below. But anyway, let's dive into the unbox. Let's check it out. We're going to go through the features. We're going to check out the quality of the components, and not just what they are, and not just what the specs are, but how well it's made, what's involved in the actual components themselves. And from that, let's do it. Start off with the CoPrint Chroma head. Now, designed for multicolor 3D printing. Now, by all accounts, the whole reason behind this concept of the CoPrint design is to enable the majority of people who don't have 3D filament-based printers that can print multicolor to be able to print in multicolor by buying one of their kits, whether it's the Chromapad system, which we'll unbox very soon, or the KCM kit. There's two versions. Why? Because the Chromapad enables printers or FDM style bed slinger printers or Core XY printers that are running on the older Marlin firmware or Raspberry Pis and so on, Raspberry Pis, to enable that to be converted to a Clipper-based system, which thus, in fact, not only increases the speed and performance of their printers, but obviously incorporates the software and the ability of the CoPrint package to incorporate multicolor printing, which I think is absolutely awesome and a crazy, crazy concept. Also, the KCM kit is designed for people who already have a Clipper modern smart style printer, which as of today in 2024, there are many around, as the evolution of 3D printing and technology has really advanced in the last few years. So that KCM kit we'll go through very shortly as well. So here we are with the most important part, in my opinion, is the Chroma head, which is the nuts and bolts of the actual unit itself. As you can see straight off the bat, we've got the CoPrint card. You've got a scan QR code that gives you the instructions and the manual for the CoPrint head, which will also give you details from a Wiki page, links to different aspects of GitHub to print your parts that you may need to mount your CoPrint Chroma head onto. So let's get this out of the box. This is the first time seeing this apart from in photos and other things. So actually, I'll grab that out because that looks like it's quite a big unit. So I don't really want to damage it. Oh, doesn't want to go. So let's just, I know this has got a magnetic head on it and I don't want it to come off. So we'll just take our time here and pop that just there. All right, what's in there? Something else. All right, so we've got that there. Oh, there's a, oh, okay, so we've got a metal plate there. Okay, so we've got the backing plate there. So that's a metal mounting plate, as you can see. Pop that there for a second. And we've got the back there, flip it around. One thing that pops out to me straight away is, which I find really good, is we've got the heater probe and sensor probes that are braided. And that's something I've actually never seen before. So let's have a bit of a closer look. Excuse me. We've got our threaded insert for our adapter head for our PDF tubing for our multicolor filament to come in, which is in one of the boxes. I say it would be in the other accessory box. Oh, there we go. So that was quite easy to come off. I'll just pop that off again. That's really a nice, unique system to have. I really like that because we can get quick access to all our components. Now, straight off the bat, I can see we've got what seems to be a proximity or induction sensor. Now, I'll just pop that down so we can get a better view on that system. But from what I can tell, it's a proximity sensor that's very similar to an Omron inductive sensor. So that's quite good because they've branded it CoPrint, but obviously they've used a high quality proximity sensor. Some people don't like these type of sensors. Some people prefer the actual pressure sensors that come with the newer style printers some have on the beds, or something like a CR Touch probe, which probes the bed first, allowing it to calibrate the offset for the nozzle. I don't mind these systems. I think they're quite good if they're a good quality system. As again, you can see the braided lines that run to the actual hot end itself. We can pull that plug off so we can have a good look at that, our silicon sock. And that's the new Phaetus hot end and heatsink fan system that CoPrint worked together with Phaetus to design themselves. Now, I've looked up and had a look through a few things, and from what I found, it's very similar to the Dragonfly hot end. Now, how do I know that? Well, I got some nozzles sent to me as spares from CoPrint. I thank you to that, especially for T for sending and organising that for me. I am a backer just like everyone else. I did put my hard-earned money into this, but I just supported them from the get-go because I believed in the product. So that's why I'm here doing what I'm doing today. And moving forward from that, with the hot end, you can see if you go and look that up, that hot end there is a unicorn style hot end, but a Dragonfly, I think it is, hot end. I'll just double check on the stats here. Yeah, so basically what that is they've got the Dragonfly hot end with the high strength, what do we got? Heat break system, one piece welded into a heat break sleeve, which by all accounts, it looks a lot thicker than something from, say, the Creality unicorn nozzles or some of the triangular lab all-inclusive hot ends. The tubing there that goes into the heat sink break seems to be of a thicker tubular steel, which is great because a lot of the time these snap clean off, which is a good sign. So from that, we've got that there. So we've got a really nice heat sink there. I really like the design of that, the way the cutout from the side, which is really good. What we've got is a brushless fan. Now, the fan system itself looks like a similar fan. Doesn't give me the specs, but I'd say by the looks of it, it's a 420 fan. I know it is a high flow fan, which is a good thing. So that's obviously a great component. The other thing with the heatsink too is it's a complete modular structure. So all the parts are easily swappable. So for instance, the hot end with just two nuts, the whole system comes out. The proximity sensor can be easily accessed. You can see where your pins and plugs are, which was an awesome idea. I love that. You've got your side ventilation cooling with your U-shaped cylindrical fans shroud, which is another good system to have. Obviously, that can be modified if you wanted another ventilation piece at the front of it, but from what I can tell, it's pretty good. It's a 20-volt fan as well. It is quite easy just to, by the looks of it, unplug that. Oh, there we go. That was pretty easy. And that there is quite unique as well. I do like the fan system there. It allows good cooling from the sides as well. Quite lightweight, and the construction's quite well. The magnets sit quite well there too. So part of this system as well, you've got your pancake style extrusion NEMA 14 1.8 stepper motor there, which is a really good quality stepper motor. We do have a cutting system inside there, which is a single cut system that enables the filament itself to actually not swing. It actually just cuts cleanly, which is a really good concept, so that it actually breaks away a lot more effectively. So that's a good thing to know. It does have the ability to, just double checking some of these stats here so I can confirm, and not just confirm, but check to see what they've actually said is actually correct. So we have what is a 10 kilo pressurized torque filament cutting system, I should say. It will have the pressure of 10 kilos pressure of force within the blade system to cut the filament as it needs to swap the filament out. As this doesn't rely on a poop chute, as they say in the multicolor filament world of things, it generally works off the prime tower itself, which is good. It has pros and cons. I generally like that because I don't like the mess of the poop chute. It's always a hassle. I know the early concepts, they did implement the idea of having a second stage prime tower, which you could utilize by utilizing the filament wastage to produce another model. I'm not sure if that's still in effect. We'll have to check that out on installation and testing. But from what I can see straight away, that's quite good. The proximity sensor as well is easy calibratable and very stable if it's anything like the proximity sensor from Omron, which is really great. It has a 5 nanometer detection rate, which is really good as well. It's got a double-sided ventilation grill. Now, the most important part is the filament extrusion rate, which everyone wants to know. It does have a high filament extrusion rate, which is great for multicolor filament printing. For instance, the Creality K1 Max and K1C, although not multicolor, their max filament rate based on actual testing and printing is 21. Anything higher than that, you'll start to get under extrusion. Their multicolor filament system, I think, is around a 23 mark. Things like the Anycubic Cobra 3, which is more of your entry-level multicolor printing system, that has a very low flow rate of 12 millimeters per second. Then you've got the Bamboo Labs AMS system, which I think runs at around 19 to 20. So 24 is quite high in terms of multi-filament extrusion, which is really great to see, especially with that Fadus hot end. I think that's going to serve really well. It does have a 300 degrees Celsius limit. Originally, it was 350. I think it's probably still capable of doing that, 320 probably, but 300 just being put there as a guided safety precaution. What else have we got? We have the multi-filament head, and we have the durability design as well. We have the high grip, compact size, durable gear ratio in there as well. So the gear ratio itself, I'm not exactly sure on the gear ratio specs itself, but that said, I'm pretty sure it's a 5.5.16 or 16.55 or 16.53 gear ratio. I'll have to clarify on that. And it does have from the side view a spring tensioner as well. And I'm not sure, I think that might be for the filament guide pressure release and cutting blade as well. So that's a good way of adjusting that. You've got a port there for your sensor port there, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a tech savvy guy as far as that's concerned. More of a mechanical engineering background and fabrication. So, you know, do with that what you will as far as the electronics are concerned. You've got a small PCB board there, which is going to operate the whole thing, and behind, which is going to operate, your proximity sensors from what I can see. Yep, that's it. And that runs straight into the back PCB board as well, which sits behind on what seems to be a good solid backing plate, which is well supported. So from what I can tell, this is a very high-end build. And I'd have to say, hats off to CoPrint for that, because I'm excited to get this working on one of the printers I have, or many, I should say, Marlin and Clipper. So this is going to be interesting to see. Really good to see. You've got your mounting plate there. There is also the ability to go on there and download a host of different brackets that will suit your printer, whether it's, you know, a linear rail or a roller bearing style printer or bed slinger, Core XY, and so on. So that's the CoPrint Chroma head. From that perspective, if there's anything else you want to know, comment below and we'll go through it. We'll go through the accessory box now as well. And I'm pretty sure this also includes the mounting hardware for when you download and print your mounting plates and brackets. Oh, as you can see, we've got our most important part here. So what we'll do is we'll just clip this on because I want to get a better vantage point. Oh, I should leave that off. So that's obviously going to screw in there. That is very nice quality. Just picking that up straight off the bat, I can tell that's made of very nice, seems to be a very nice aluminium, a CNC machined alloy. Very, very well done. And I can see some rubber insert caps in there. So with a Allen key type grub screw holding your main filament thread tube in, which is great to see because that can be swapped out if needed to. So that potentially could be increased. So you could potentially swap that out with a bigger tube and potentially print with resizing your PDF e-tubes, which no one's actually discussed, with a bigger size filament. So that's interesting. That's a different, yeah, I really like the concept of that. This, I would not even replace this. I mean, you see them all the time. People are designing and reprinting, you know, different type of PTFE tubing nozzle inserts for multi-extrusion systems. This one being straight out the gate, an 8-port system. So that's really good to see. I'm not sure how they implement the secondary system where you want to go to 12 or 16, but we'll figure that one out later. That just screws in absolutely flawlessly. I mean, I've gone through a lot of machines, and I can generally say when I pick up something and I look at the components, coming from a metal fabrication, engineering, mechanical background, I can tell when something has been machined properly, and I can tell when the fitment is right. And from what I can tell and see here, it is spot on. I mean, some of the components that I've gotten from top level companies, I'm not going to name brands, but we know who we're talking about, probably 3 or 4 of the big names out there. Even by today's standards, I've received products that have been subpar at best. And I would say that this is right up there with some of the best I've seen as far as componentry and quality is concerned. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I paid for this out of my own money, and I am really glad that I did, because this is very good quality. So I'm quite happy with that. So hats off to the CoPrint team for that one. We'll just pop this back on here. I think we've got to go like that. Whoop. There we go. First time. Had a bit of a bubble with that. So we've got that there. So we'll pop him aside. So that's the CoPrint head. We can probably go through more of that when we do the installation. You get all your bits and pieces there, your Allen keys, your little Phillips heads. Most importantly, your little square nuts. So Chromapad, here we are. Let's unbox this one and have a look. This is the revolutionary system that enables anyone with a Marlin system or Raspberry Pi system to run a clipperized version, not just clipper, which increases your printing time by about between 40 and 60%, but also multicolor printing. So I'm quite excited about this one. So let's just pop this box out the way. Once again, you get the QR code there. You can scan that for your instructions, any components you need to print or files, etc. So straight off the bat, on the back, we've got a 24 volt, 5 amp input, the power switch on the side there, push button and a DC input, that's fine. We've got a nice sturdy handle system, which seems to be roughly about 60 to 70 degrees opening angle, which is quite well. I will tell you a bit about this. I'm not going to power this on straight away. I will power this on when I'm doing the setup video, which is coming next. At the time of this video being released, I will already be in the process of getting the video installation of the Chromapad system, either on an Ender 3 or a CR10 Smart Pro up and running. So we'll go through the installation process together with that one on the Chromapad. But today it's all about the unboxing and the features and what's included. So on the back, actually we'll start off with what's in the system. So if you compare this to, say, a Sonic Pad, for instance, which I've used in the past, which enables you to run Clipper on high-speed Marlin FDM printers. This actually has 2 gig of RAM with a 16 gig ROM. Now, if you compare that to the Sonic Pad, which did come out, in all fairness, 2 or so years ago, has a 1 gig of RAM and I think an 8 gig of ROM. It does run an Amlogic S905 x3 with 4 1.9 gigahertz ARM Cortex microchip A55 chipsets in it. It's got a 7-inch touchscreen, I should say, with a 64-bit SoC operating system. So that's actually really good. Some people will say, well, could have had more gigabytes of RAM, 3 or 4 gigabytes of RAM. In all honesty, you know, most smart devices, especially, you know, running Android or Clipper-based systems, 2 gig of RAM is more than enough. I mean, it's a basic operating system that is utilized mainly just for the operating system to transfer data. That's its principle. And, you know, the chipset does a lot of that work itself. So, you know, that nullifies that. Yes, you may get a bit more speed and performance, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's neither here or there. With this system, you do get the ability to control up to 8 printers at once, which is quite impressive. I do like the idea of that. To be able to have people in the field of 3D printing that may or may not be able to afford, you know, the likes of a Bamboo Labs printer, whether it's a X1 carbon or a P1S, or for instance the new $2,500 Australian AUD Creality K2 multicolor printer. To be able to buy a system, whether it's the Chromapad set or the KCM set, which we're going to go through in a minute, and implement that even on Creality systems or elegoo system or an Anycubic system, or artillery printers. There's so many more printers I could go through. The list is endless. There's a huge list on their website that shows you all the compatible printers that go with the Chromapad and all the printers that are compatible with the KCM kit. They're already clipperized. So it really does give you a really good option, especially with the Chromapad, because it enables people who are on a budget. And let's face it, I, from my experience, know that internationally, there is only a small percentage of people in the 3D printing industry that can afford these printers that are $500 to $600 USD or 1,000 Australian AUD. Most people can't afford those type of printers. Creality did bring out printers like the Ender 3 V3 SE and the KE. Other companies like elegoo and Anycubic have done the same with their Cobra series, their Neptune series. You've got other companies as well. Big Tree Tech have come out with a lot of tech and boards so you can customize your printers. But to be all honesty, in multicolor printing, you're talking big money. Unless, of course, some people will say, oh, well, the Bamboo Labs A1 Mini. Yeah, it's a mini. It's very small. Even the A1, it's not a very large build plate. You've got the Anycubic Cobra 3. Once again, that's not a very big build plate, and it's only 12 millimeters per second flow rate. When comparing to this with a flow rate of 24, whether it's compared up with a Chromapad or a KCM. So to be able to buy a Chromapad set, including the Chroma head, and whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 extruders, and support up to 8 printers at once, plus up to 20 colors, and be able to do that anywhere from $250 Australian up to $600 Australian, $700 Australian for the top of the line, and be able to work your way up as you go on a budget, that applies to probably 50% of the whole 3D printer enthusiasts and hobbyists out there. I guarantee you that most people can't afford multicolor printers that are over $1,000 Australian. It's out of most people's budget in this state of an economic situation. I mean, things are too expensive. So I think CoPrint coming in with this system has hit the nail on the head. They've enabled people on a budget, and even those people who have the money to spend, to get the big packages and have the elite kit, or you can come in on a budget and you can buy the basics and you're up and running. So I think it's a great concept. I think it's really, really well done. Like I said, it's an easy touchscreen interface. We're going to go through it when we do the install. It's got up to 8 different languages. You've got customized configuration setups. Already implemented 3D printer profiles, and from what I remember, I think I counted the profiles were around the 50 to 60 mark, give or take, and they've got automatic bin and hex file generation in there. They've got full support on GitHub. You can download all the software. There's plenty of updates. Now, I will say the one aspect is that it's very similar to root access on a 3D printer, is that you do need to have a little bit of patience and do a little bit of research in that. When you buy, whether it's the Chromapad system or the KCM kit, you do need to be able to go into the system itself and edit the G-code file to enable your printer to recognize the system. Now, I know that's scary for a lot of people, but it's not that hard to do. I will be doing that myself, so I will be doing a tutorial on that. For those people wanting to see that, check that out. That video is currently being done now. By the time this is uploaded, I'll be already onto that. So that's coming very, very soon, probably in the next 48 hours. So stay tuned for that. I will cover all the issues. I know some people are having MCU issues. I will also cover that as well. It's not that difficult. It just takes time and a little bit of patience, and you can have one of the best multicolor printer systems out there. So that's the CoPrint Chromapad system. The Chromapad itself as a unit as a whole. So we'll pop that aside on the box, and let's get into what else we've got in here. So in here, what have we got? Oh, it's pretty cool actually. We've got a huge transformer. I like to see that. The DC-AC power pack, which means it's got a good relay fuse system in it, good circuit recovery. So that's good because we don't want any circuit overloads or power out overloads, especially if you've got power surges or shortages. We have a nice braided micro USB to USB cable there, our power cable obviously as well. That one there, I'll just check that. There, yep, okay. And we also have our Type C to USB as well. So we've got multiple inputs there. Now the reason why you've got these as well is because some 3D printers will still be running like the Ender 3 Pros, Ender 3 V2s, and the original, say, Cobra, or elegoo Neptune series, Artillery, Vorons, the earlier printers as well. They're going to have the older micro USB, and then obviously they transitioned across to the Type C USB, which is great. They didn't have to include that in the hab, which is cool. And then on top of this, we have, I'm pretty sure, this is for our vibration compensation or accelerometer, I think it is. Oh, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It'll come to me. I feel like a deal. I've gone blank. But basically, anyway, this is going to be so that you can tune in your printer's vibration, calibration settings to compensate for that at high-speed printing. So that's really good to include as well. So that's pretty much everything in the box, as you can see right there. Let's unbox the CoPrint CX1 extruder, all-in-one extruder kit. Check that out. Now, by all accounts, this includes a mounting system. Oh, hang on. There we go. Beautiful. Aside. So we've got our power cable for our extruders. Okay, that's going to plug directly into your KCM or Chromapad. That's great to see. We do have our adapter plate. So this is for the older style. I'm not sure the exact name, but the aluminum extrusion frame, so that you can actually put your extruder motor with extruder on top there, and you can mount it through that tube square box rail that you have on the older style frame printers, whether they're your Ender 5s, Core XYs, your older N3 Pros and so on. So that's great for that. And for the newer printers, you've got adapter plates you can print that house all these printers at once. Once again, you've got your PDFE tube clips and your little Allen key bolts and nuts. And there we have the nuts and bolts of the actual extruder. I'll just have a look in the back here. Oh, and I was wondering where that was, our PDFE tubing. So we've obviously got our PDFE tubing. Looks like standard PDFE tubing, which is fine for 1.75 millimeter filament. So that's great. Pop that aside. Now, with the motor itself, obviously, they've already released a mounting plate video. Unscrew those 4 bolts there. That goes in between there and there. That mounts onto your extrusion frame, and there's your extruder there. Power into the back, and then straight into your Chromapad or KCM unit. You do have what I like to see on most extruders, which not a lot of these have these days, apart from the individual ones that come like this, is the spring-loaded tensioner, which is a great concept because we all know that we like to adjust our filament extrusion pressure, whether we want to print different filaments like TPU, HIPS, PC, ASA. Some filaments are more brittle or more softer than others. So that's really good to see. We can really back that off if we want to. We do have, what is a NEMA 17? Yep, NEMA 17 1.8 stepper motor with a 1.5 meter motor cable and 1.5 meters of PDFE tubing, which is good to see. So you've got plenty of tubing, plenty of cable resistance, got a nice adjuster there. The gear ratio, from what I can see, apart from the main cog there, it is, by all counts, a all-metal extrusion gear, which I would like to say, thank you, CoPrint, for doing that, because a lot of people, including the bigger name companies out there, didn't do that for a very long time. And that caused a lot of issues with some filaments binding up within the extruders. And a lot of people weren't happy about that. So to have an all-metal gear drive inside there for the extrusion itself of the filament, I like that. Thanks, CoPrint. Good job on that one there. Now, apart from that, I mean, extruders are pretty self-explanatory. You've got downloadable parts. So you've got the extruder itself. You can mount as a single extrusion mounting system. So if you've got the Sigma single profile piece, you can actually have each individual designed extruder mounted separately, or you can actually print off a part, so you can have a whole system of a rack of 4 extruders, or up to the Big X CXI extrusion, which is a row of 8. So that's for the big spenders. If they want to have the 8 system going at once, all good for them. And then obviously you've got the bracket there as well. which is specifically designed for the Sigma profiles, which is what I was talking about before, which is the box tube slide slot frames, gantry frames on the older aluminium frame style printers. So that's pretty much that, the extruder side of it. Alongside that, you can see we've got the ECM box. Now the ECM, shout out to CoPrint once again. They did send this one out to me to have a look as an extra, along with a couple other items for the support that I've given them. It's quite smaller than what I thought. I actually think it's quite cute. I actually think it's quite cool, actually. I like to see things in the industry that are somewhat minimalistic, but are very, like, at the same time, good quality and serve a purpose. Because the less bulkiness we have with the versatility of usability and efficiency, it just creates less clutter and it makes everything cleaner. So that's good. DC input, Type C input, and we've got our extrusions there. So obviously, you know, you've got your power input there. Your Type C will run from your actual Chromapad or KCM, and then you can run your extra 4 extruders. So for every ECM that you purchase from CoPrint, that enables you to run another 4 extruders, up to 20 extruders. So that's a really cool piece there. I will have links in the description for all the CoPrint components, and I will save it for the end of the video. I have a special link that will enable all viewers who have watched the complete video to get 10% off. So as you know, CoPrint's got a sale going at the moment where they've got up to 40% off their products. Well, I've got a special link for you. Anyone that wants to click on the link, not only does it help support the channel, I will get a small commission for it, but you'll get a bigger by using my link in the description below. So check that out. If you want to get in the upgraded components, you like what you've seen here, I will be doing an install video straight after this one. So check the description below, click on the link, and you'll get yourself instantly, not just on a KCM, not just on a Chromapad, but every single item on the page, whether it's an accessory, whether it's a part. So check that out as well. So yeah, so back to the ECM, you've got your Type C and your USB there as well. Once again, you've got your adapter there for your two-way. So what this actually does is enables you to use the power supply that comes from the Chromapad or the KCM, and it utilizes the power cross-flow from that. Now, being that the ECM doesn't consume a lot of power, it's not a draw factor because it's, you know, it's barely going to pull anything from it. It's just basically spinning the drive motor. So it's not really a big deal there. PTF tubes as well. And once again, you get your little 4-port PTFE. Actually, 5-port PTFE. So, which is really cool. So I like that concept. I really do like that they include these in every ECM pack as well, because you already get them in the Chroma head pack. So you do get the versatility of swapping these out as well, which is a good concept to have as well. Once again, you've got your hex key there. So if you wanted to actually revert your Chroma head multi-filament head from an 8-filament head to a 4 or 5 to just reduce the size because you're not using that many extruders, you can use that from your ECM kit by simply unscrewing that Allen key bolt, removing that head, and swapping them out. So that's a good concept to have. I like the option to have that. It's all these little things that add up to make a big difference, in my opinion, because the quality is, in my opinion, quality is everything. You know, you can have, everyone's going to have firmware problems. Everyone's going to have software problems. Everyone's going to have something where, oh, they don't have the design, or they don't have the product that I can print for my printer, or those things will come in time. Those things cannot be done all at once. There is hundreds and hundreds of printers out there, and, you know, brands galore, that it's impossible to launch a product off the bat unless you're going to wait 5 years, okay, for every single piece to be manufactured and tested. By that time, it's outdated. You can't do it. It's impossible. So good to see that the quality is next to none. They've incorporated all these extra components they can to make it so that you've got the most of what you need to start off with. And I know from the fact that CoPrint will be implementing more upgrades, componentry, and files for the consumer and the general public to print as time goes on. They're constantly working on it. I've spoken to the design team and the directors and CEOs of the company. And for T, And the other gentleman's name, I can't pronounce his name, and I don't want to be insultive in pronouncing incorrectly, but he knows who he is, and I'd like to thank him as well. Not least, we're going into the KCM. This is the component that a lot of people are going to look at. It's actually cheaper than the Chromapad kit system, being that it doesn't have to involve a full touchscreen interface. The Chromapad, however, is a full intuitive, universal, individual user face. So you can literally control your whole printer from the Chromapad, including your colors, your settings, prints, the whole lot. But with the KCM, the good thing about this is if you've got a clipper printer and you want to print multicolor, you can jump into it just by buying the KCM kit with the Chroma head itself and buy some extruders, and you are ready to rock and roll with a 4-color kit. And if you wanted to expand it, you just generally get yourself an ECM and 1, 2, 3, 4 extruders, and you just grow and grow and grow until you got 20 more. So let's jump into the ECM. Let's have a look at unbox of that. Oh, that looks really nice. I can just, by the packaging alone, very nice, neat and tidy. Thank you for your support. Once again, we've got our KCM scan QR code. So scan the QR code for instructions and manuals on that. So that's quite nice to see. We've got our KCM module. We'll try and dig that out. I like it how it's compact. I do like the size and the way it's compact. We've got some nice ventilation holes there for the circuit board that's inside. 24 volt, 5 amp. Designed in Istanbul. I like that. Something different. Nice to see. So from there, what you can see is we've got another Type-C input. Good to see they're using the Type-C input. More universal, less hassles. We've got our our transfer data cable that will connect to either your ECM and your extruders and your DC power input. And then obviously you've got your extruder data connections there as well. So from that, you can run the KCM kit with 4 extruders, and then you've got your communication to your Chroma head, and then your communication to your clipperized printer, whether it be, you know, Voron, Creality, K1, Ender 3, V3 Plus, V3, you know, any smart clipper printer, any elegoo, you know, the list goes on and on. Kingroon 3D, you know, away you go. So anything that's running clipper, you can generally use this with. As far as I'm aware, let's lift this up and see what else is in here. Nothing there. This box here. So we've got a few things in here. Alrighty, what have we got in here? So we've got, oh, that's nice of them. So we've got a few little unique things. So little pen, that's pretty cool. Little CoPrint pen, something you don't see every day. That's pretty cool. I'll just tip this out and see what's in here. I like that. They've given us, oh, it's nice. So we've got 2 CoPrint pens, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's something that is in every KCM box, but it's in this one. So it's cool. Thanks, CoPrint. If that's unique, I'm happy with that. That's cool. I like that. We've got our basic USB cable, which is really cool. So USB Type-C, which we connect to the KCM. And we've got our, what seems to be our air freshener. Oh, I think it's an air freshener. To open it and find out. Or it's just a little chime hanger from your car windscreen or dangly thing. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. Actually, probably would be good to actually use as a print template, which would be pretty cool. I'll be interested in actually try that. Just got a laser engraver, so it'd be pretty cool to try that as well. Or even multicolor print it, so that's pretty cool. And in the bottom here, have we got anything in here? I'm not quite sure. Let's lift it up and find out. Or it might be nothing. And nothing in there. No. So I'm like, this doesn't feel like there's anything in there. That's okay. It's just a support packing box. That's fine. So that's great. So obviously that came in that there. So you've got your data cables. You've got your little pen gifts and that. So it's good to see they add these little gifts. I mean, look, it doesn't make the printing experience any better, but it generally just gives you that feeling of, you know, they wanted to give something back, and you know, it was just their little way of saying thank you for the investment in backing the company, you know. So that's good to see. So that's pretty much the KCM. Like I said, with the KCM, one thing I didn't mention is that the KCM itself, you can actually use, if you have someone who already has an FL Sun tablet, or you have a Big Tree Tech tablet, or you have a Creality Sonic Pad, you can actually flash the firmware on one of those pad devices with the Chromapad Chroma software. And that software, I will post a link below in the description below from GitHub. And you can flash that onto your pad and then use your KCM kit with the 4 extruders and the CoPrint head. So that's pretty cool as well. Sorry, not with the KCM. My bad, completely stuffed that one up. One thing with the KCM that you can't do with other printers is this enables basically you to connect, edit the G-code file slightly with some slight modifications so the printer recognizes it, flash the firmware, and you're ready to go. Getting back to the Chromapad, the one thing the Chromapad can do is if you want to get yourself into multicolor printing, but say for instance you can only afford the Chroma head itself and say 1, 2, 3, or 4 extruders, and you might already have a Sonic pad laying around from Creality, or you might have a Big Tree Tech touchpad hanging around. You might even have a Raspberry Pi touchscreen sitting around, or you might have an FL Sun touchpad sitting around. You could flash the firmware and software from the Chromapad and then plug that into your Chromapad and your extruders, and therefore you're not having to buy the Chroma pad itself, although you do miss out on some of the abilities that the Chromapad can do as far as the ports and such, but you do have that option to run that. You would have to buy some accessories and modify some of the inputs and so on, but that is an option. I just wanted to throw that out there. So anyway, back to the KCM. That's the KCM pretty much in a nutshell. Pretty straightforward, pretty basic. I will open that up and have a look at the circuitry inside. I don't really think there's any real need to. It is what it is. It's the Clipper Chroma module that enables you to run any printer that runs Clipper software. Bang your 4 extruders in the side, power it up, transfer data cable to your Chroma head, Type-C USB port to your ECM if you want to expand from 4 extruders to 8, 16 and so on. Edit your G-code file. If we flash your firmware, away you go. So on top of that, that's the unboxing of the CoPrint system, KCM, Chromapad, CX1 extruders, also the overview of the Chroma head internals. Just like to say thank you to CoPrint. I've been following them for some time. So that's the KCM, Chromapad, the CX1 extruders, the Chroma head. Obviously, we touched on, I was going to unbox this here, which was a spare hot end, but we already covered that, the Fadus hot end. Comment below if you want me to open this one up and have a look so we can go through that, pull that apart so you can have a deeper dive into the heat sink and so on. So that said, that's the unboxing of CoPrint. Like I said, description down below with my link down below, which will generate a code for you that you can use at the checkout. And that's on any product on the CoPrint store. We'll get a small commission from that, but obviously that goes towards me doing more videos like this and genuinely bringing honest unboxing, reviews, and testing to the environment of the 3D printing industry, which is well needed in this industry. As we all know, there's too many channels and reviews out there that seem to think everything's glorious and happy and flawless when it's not. So one thing I can say from this point of view, from an unboxing perspective, quality is great, packaging is awesome, can't fault any of the components that I can see. So stay tuned for the next video. Links in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. Check out the links. I'll have the GitHub links for the Chroma software. Print files in the description as well. Links for the discount. Check them out. Guys, you've been waiting. You've been watching. I've hoped you enjoyed the video of the unboxing and the review of the quality of the CoPrint Chroma system. So you probably want to know what the big news is and the breaking news. Well, I've just been informed that coming very soon, and I mean very soon, Creality are going to be collaborating with CoPrint with their multicolor system. Why, you say? I'm not exactly sure, but I can tell you this. It involves the Ender 3 V3 Plus and Ender 3 V3 lineup, as well as the K1 series multicolor printing system where CoPrint will actually be offering multicolor printing combos on the Creality website for the Ender 3 V3 series and the K1 lineup. So that is huge for you, me, and everyone in the 3D printing industry. So stay tuned for that one. CoPrint combos coming to Creality on their site for all of us.